Last Friday, I turned 37. Now, I definitely feel old, especially after a night of playing basketball. 20 years ago was my first leadership opportunity. I was 17, a senior in high school, and I was named captain of my basketball team. Now, back then, my view on leadership was naive and immature. But over the last 20 years, I've had many leadership opportunities and experiences, and those opportunities have definitely helped shape my leadership. So to celebrate my 37th birthday, I want to share with you some of the top lessons that I've learned. Now, I'm not going to give you 37, but I do want to give you 7 of those key lessons that have helped shape my leadership. Lesson number 1, let self-awareness be your guide. You see, we all have strengths, weaknesses, and blind spots. But what people tend to do, and I am definitely guilty of this, is that we magnify our strengths, we avoid our weaknesses, and we're unfamiliar with most of our blind spots. It's very hard to develop and mature as a person when you don't understand those 3. So with people with self-awareness, what they do is that they know their strengths so that they can refine them. They lean in to their weaknesses so they can compensate for them. And they become painfully aware of their blind spots and work on them so that those blind spots don't disqualify them from other leadership opportunities. Let self-awareness be your guide on your leadership journey. Lesson number 2, invest more in people than in tasks. Ken Blanchard and Spencer Johnson, who wrote the famous book, The 1 Minute Manager, talks about how the most effective minutes that a manager will spend every day is with people. As you look to invest in others, know that your investment in them will yield a better return on your currency of time than in any other investment you can make on a regular basis. Legacy is more defined by the people you influence than the projects that you complete. Lesson number 3, greatness begins with humility. Humility, as I've heard somebody once say, is not thinking less of yourself, but it is about thinking less about yourself. You see, what I think with humble people, they don't necessarily downplay their strengths, and I don't think they run away from the attention that comes from their strengths, but what they recognize is that their strengths don't make them more important or better than anyone else or those people's strengths. The secret to humility is that humble people are others focused. They think more about other people than they do about themselves. One of the things that I try to do is that if I know I'm going to have a lunch meeting or a phone call or a conversation with someone face to face, I try to ask myself this question: how can I add value to them in this conversation or meeting? Or said another way, how can I encourage them today? The reason I ask that question is that I want that time to be more about them than it is about me. So those are 3 of my top lessons. Next session, we're going to share my final 4 lessons that I've learned over the last 20 years of leadership. Today's game plan, here's what I want you to do. I want you to think about the lessons that you've learned, whether it's been over the last year, 5 years, 10 years, it doesn't matter the time frame. Take some time to think through those experiences that you've had, especially the hard ones. What have they taught you? Write them down. Share them with other people. I guarantee you it will be encouragement to you and them. In fact, I encourage you, write a comment down below on this page. I would love to hear some of the lessons you've learned, and I would love for this leadership community to be able to encourage each other with those lessons. Let me leave you with our tweetable lesson. It's by Vince Lombardi, the famous Green Bay Packers head coach. He says this: leaders are made, not born. They are made by hard effort, which is the price all of us must pay to accomplish any goal worthwhile.